But Jesus is risen, and what better way to celebrate than making Peeps? Because that makes sense, right? So yes, obviously you're probably thinking, Brittany, it is so much easier and way cheaper to just buy the $1 pack of Peeps from Walmart. But let me tell you this, are they fun to make? No, because you just go and you buy the pack. There's nothing fun about that. So I wanted to create a way that you can have a good family old fun time together and make these Peeps where you can only really eat them in one bite, but hey, that's okay. So obviously, you probably see all the ingredients here and you've noticed them all while I've been jibber-jabbering. And I will say that is powdered sugar in the back, but I attempted and failed with that. So completely ignore that. You are not going to need powdered sugar today, people. I only used it because I am actually using a recipe from this blog that I found on Pinterest. I will link that link, whatever, down below so that you can do that. I'm not creative enough to figure out how to make marshmallows on my own self. So I went to Pinterest for a little extra help. The first thing you're going to need to do is, in a completely separate bowl, put 1 cup of water and 1 complete pack of this Knox gelatin. It comes with 4 pouches, so if you only have the kind, I know they have a larger box that you can buy. You only need 4 pouches for this, and just empty all 4 of them in there and stir it up just a little bit, but you're going to let it sit while you get everything else ready on the stove. So on the stove, you are going to heat up 1 cup of water and 3 cups of sugar, and you are going to mix this until the sugar dissolves, and this will happen quickly, so this is not a heat up and walk away sort of situation, so just keep your eye on that. And once all that sugar is dissolved into the water, you are going to pour in that mixture that you just made with the gelatin, and you're going to continuously stir this until it's done. You don't want it to burn, so that's why you're going to want it to stir, and it helps it all melt together to create an even thicker sort of mixture that you have going on. And you will know when it's done once it starts boiling. Now mine started to boil over on the side because I was setting up the camera, so try to do this quickly because it makes the cleanup a lot easier. But just pour it all into a big mixing bowl right next to your stove. And you are just going to let this sit and cool down. You don't have to let it cool completely. The recipe said that you can wait until it's warm, which is what I did because I'm a little impatient and I just really wanted to eat some marshmallows, honestly. So you can also speed up the process with putting this in the refrigerator, but what I would think would happen would be that it would harden a lot easier and quicker. So just to avoid that, I just let mine sit on the counter. It took about 45 minutes for it to finally cool down, and I think part of that is because I used a metal bowl, which will keep it a lot warmer than intended. After it has cooled down, put in half a teaspoon of salt and 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I think the kind that I had was pretty strong in vanilla, because not saying that my Peeps were too flavorful, but they could have been just a little bit less. And after that, you're going to take an electronic mixer and you're going to mix it from 10 to 15 minutes. Your arms will hurt, but hey, you got your workout in for the day. And it will change coloring and consistency. So it took me about 12 minutes overall, so I didn't need the full 15. But you want it to get to a white, thick consistency. Now, it's probably not going to be as thick as you're going to think, but just thicker than what this liquid here that you're working with. So this step, I just used my spray coconut oil, but honestly, I should have just taken coconut oil out of the jar and really lathered this baby up, because I thought I did a pretty good job putting a lot on there. But trust me, the removal process was very difficult. You'll see later on. So just really make sure you're greasing that pan up, which, by the way, I used an 11x5 pan, which was a good thick bunny for me. Now, if you did a 9x9 pan, it would be very, very thick, and it would be more like basically a Peep marshmallow bunny cake at that point. But just pour that whole mixture in there, and you're going to put plastic wrap on top and just stick it in your fridge. and let it cool down. It doesn't necessarily need to harden. I put it in there for about an hour and a half and it was great. And you can also lay this out on the counter, but that just takes longer. But at this point, this is our mixture, this is our marshmallows, so it's okay to put it in the fridge. And you're going to take that bunny cookie cutter that you have, and you're going to really just oil it up with coconut oil because, surprise, marshmallows are sticky. Who knew? I did. That's why we're using coconut oil. And if you don't have a cookie cutter or you couldn't find one that was perfect, you can just outline and cut it yourself with a knife, but be sure to put coconut oil on that knife. And I was actually lucky and found the Cadbury version of cookie cutters at Walmart for just $1.99. So I didn't have to worry about freehanding this bunny like I had originally planned to. So Jesus, I know you're with me on this DIY. All right, but one part that was a little bit difficult was this, what I was talking about here, was it had a hard time, let's say, getting off of the pan there. So that's where I had mentioned earlier, you really want to be generous with any type of oil that you were using to lather up your pan. I ended up having to get a really sharp knife and going around the edges and going underneath the bunny to sort of push it up and disconnect it from the pan like an umbilical cord for Peeps. Yeah, that was a gross comparison, I'm sorry. But later on with the other bunnies, what I did was I actually just pushed my cookie cutter in and then outlined it with the knife, which made it for a really easier removal process than what I'm showing you here. So just keep that in mind. Now to get the signature sugary coating that is also colored, you're going to pour in some regular sugar into a bowl. I bought these little ones that you use to dye eggs, but I bought them new. You probably don't want to use ones that you already have lying around the house just because they might taste like vinegar. And take some food coloring and drop it in there. I don't measure anything out really, you guys. That's just not how I roll. So just go with what your heart tells you. And take a spoon and mix it around. And after that, to make it easier to kind of coat it onto the Peep and create less of a mess than what this is already going to do, I put it all into this separate bowl here. Now don't feel the need to use a new spoon and bowl for this every time. You can just wash what you've used because the food coloring comes off right away. So that will make the cleanup less stressful. Now I suggest putting on gloves for this next step because you don't want the food coloring to dye your hands and the next day you go in with rainbow hands. I don't know, maybe you want to do that. Just do whatever you want, but I didn't want that. So I put on gloves and I'm taking one of those Peeps and just rubbing it on there like you would rub on like an exfoliating scrub on your face or something. The color will just naturally stick to the marshmallow, and it's good that the marshmallow is just white in general because it makes the color more vibrant and easier to stick on. And just kind of rub it on there. Make sure you get all the little crevices around there between the ears like I'm doing there. It's almost like you're giving a marshmallow a massage in a way. I tried to make this not creepy, but it's not going in my favor today. So just really be generous with the amount of sugaring that you put on there, because if you think about it, the actual Peeps are just sugar. So this is where I actually try to do the powdered sugar because the recipe normally says, you know, just put powdered sugar on the marshmallows so they don't stick together. But I am dumb and did not realize that once you put food coloring in with powdered sugar, it's just going to stick as a chunk, which will happen with this sugar, but at least this is a little bit bigger so it breaks up that color. And powdered sugar, not so much. And as you can see here, I was a little low on that sugar, so just be mindful of that, but it's easy fix as you can see. This is what they should end up looking like. The blue ones in the back look a little bit weird because those are the ones where I attempted to use the powdered sugar. But I wanted to give you a general view of what they look like. I personally think the pink ones and the purple ones turned out best. And once the mixture has set onto the marshmallow and it's dried, take black frosting in a tube here and just do 3 dots, 2 for the eyes and 1 for the nose. And let that dry and your Peeps are all done. Alright, y'all, let me know if you tried this out in the comments down below. You can find all my social media linked in the description box. And don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button and that thumbs up if you like my video and if you like what I'm producing. Alright, guys, have a wonderful Easter and hallelujah! Peace and blessings.